It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Well. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants, from the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. I am John Schmeelk. We're joined by Jonathan Casillas. The Giants defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17 at MetLife Stadium. JC, that, and I'll put it this way. We've seen the Giants win games against some teams, and, you get, turnover luck, a couple big plays, drop passes, whatever. And you, understand how the Giants figured out how to win. In this game, to me, the Giants just outplayed a good football team from really start to finish, in my opinion, on both sides of the ball. They had a couple late takeaways, but they were already in control of the game when those two plays happened, in my opinion. And just a really, really solid all-around performance.
Absolutely. Right from the jump, the Eagles' offense was moving the ball. First two runs by Saquon, 30 yards. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a long night. But they hammered down on it. They squeezed them. I don't know how many yards Saquon had in the second half.
And by the way, then he had another 18-yard run later in the game. So other than those three runs, he basically had 9 carries for 10 yards.
Yeah, for sure. So they did a good job. And even though Jalen Hurts had a good completion percentage and he was moving the ball kind of efficiently for them in the first half, I feel like the defense was still flustering the offense. And they did hit some runs here and there, but the defense stayed after them the whole entire game. They were in the backfield.
4 rushes, 2 yards in the second half for Saquon.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then in the second half, they didn't give him anything. And then this offense, man, you saw some explosivity early on with that, pass to little Jordan Humphreys to open it up.
And by the way, the receivers making plays for the quarterback for once. How about that?
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt showed up big time, not down the field, but getting first downs, getting great catches on the sideline.
Contested catches.
So
Wanda Robinson breaking the tackle to run for the 30-yard touchdown.
Jackson Dart's legs led to literally both of those first touchdowns.
And JC, that was my big takeaway. So I want to start there because you brought it up. I apologize for cutting you off.
That was it.
So to me, last night before I rewatched it this morning, I'm like, I think 3 best consecutive games I've seen a Giants offensive line play.
Okay.
But then I watched the game this morning. Eagles actually were in the backfield a fair amount in this game. Yeah. And I thought Jackson Dart's sack avoidance was the most important part of this game.
Top tier.
It was unbelievable.
Top tier.
Now, I'm not sure if this is something he could do every game.
Right.
Because there were some plays where guys were coming up from behind them. I'm not even sure he saw him, and he happened to step and avoid him. But maybe he did. Maybe he just has the spidey sense back there, whatever it is. And by the way, he did do well at that in college, too. He had a good pocket presence. He steps up in the pocket. He does good with that sort of stuff. But his ability to turn what looked like was going to be a for certain negative play into either just a neutral throwaway, even like an 8-yard loss. All right, he got sacked for a 1-yard loss. That's not as big of a deal. Or plays where he turned into the positive, where he hit Wanda Robinson on the sideline. He just is able to make, as Brian Daboll calls them, loose plays when things break down, where, again, not Russell Wilson's fault. He's a 37-year-old quarterback. He would be sacked on those plays.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart's avoiding those sacks and even, again, making it a neutral play or turning it into a positive play. And that, to me, for the offense, was the most important part of this game, where his legs, and not just the rushing yards, but, again, avoiding the sacks to then complete a pass, to me, really made the difference for how the Giants were able to move the ball.
Absolutely, and there were times where he actually sat in the pocket when there was pressure in his face, whether it was a extra guy or somebody, got beat on the offensive line, and he sat in the pocket, took a hit, and threw a nice pass, a very accurate pass, a couple of times, and look, you can't take anything away from this kid's toughness. That's what I've seen from him. I've seen a lot of physical toughness, and I think that's something we might want to dial back maybe a little bit. But the mental toughness that this kid have, man, is second to none. And, he's galvanized this team. Him and Scatterbo, the energy that they bring, not just to the offense, but to the defense as well. Those defensive guys, they're so jubilant and happy every time Dart and Scatterbo makes a play. And you could just feel it in the stadium. It was an electric night.
Dude, how about they got the ball back with 6 minutes to go, and they just said, "All right, we're gonna run Cam Scatterby down your throat for 6 consecutive minutes."
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't for the taunting penalty or personal foul, whatever. It
And
was.
what was that?
He must have used the magic word, and the referee.
The F-bomb. Is that the magic word, the F-bomb?
I mean, there are other magic words,
Yeah.
but I think that's one of the magic words.
I mean, come on. This is football.
Hey,
I almost said it just now.
Hey, look, I'm not going to even try to speak to what is said on the field and what's not. You know that, so I'm not. I can't say anything about that.
What is that? It was like he didn't like go up to him, his face. He just ran past him and he said something. I don't know, man. But yeah, like you said, you know, they ran the ball. Singletary got in that mix as well. You know, the Giants dominated a team that's been dominating the Giants for a very significant amount of time. And that's good to see. You know, it kind of is like, hey, you punch them in the mouth when they come here and we're how many days away from them going down there to play them. Not too long because it's a short week.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you know, so they're going down to Philly in a few weeks, but this puts them on notice. Like, you know, you don't have our number anymore.
And JC, we talked.
This is a new Giants team,
and that's the thing. We talked about it last night in the postgame show. You know, and everyone talks about the energy with Dart and Scatterby, and I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I think the energy wouldn't mean anything if they're not executing on the field first and foremost.
100%.
So you get the energy because they're making good plays. That aside, Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby could not care less that in the last 34 games against the Eagles are 27-7 against the Giants.
He said that too. Dart said that.
They weren't here for any of that.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't know.
They don't even know.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
All Dart knows is that he lost like 10 games through 5 years of college football. And Cam Scatterby went to the semifinals of the college football playoffs last year.
And he beat the so-called great Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
The defending champions.
And he almost beat, I mean, he probably thought almost beating Texas last year in the playoffs was a bigger deal than facing the Eagles based on what he's been through. No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
these guys don't have a reference for this stuff.
No, seriously.
They just think, all right, well, it's another game. We're going to go out there. We're going to beat them. Yeah, it's the Eagles. They're good. So what?
Yep.
At Ole Miss, we beat good teams all the time.
Sometimes it's good to be young and dumb.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't have any of the battle scars, right?
And it's not he's never gonna get Scatterby. All these younger guys, they're never gonna be. Oh, there it goes again. They don't have that.
I said that same exact thing on the
They don't
postgame
have
too
that.
last night.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They don't have that. So this is a new energy. This team looks different, and I'm talking about the same players that's been here before the rookies. They look different. The Thibodeau's having a great, fantastic year.
And Burns, I don't think ever got there, but
I think
he's
the
playing.
health last year really hindered
He's up to
him.
7 sacks, man.
This dude is incredible. Bro, they bring him off the ball, and he moves better than most linebackers.
He had another good
Off the ball.
He had another good play in coverage in this game on the little when they dropped him. He was a stand-up rusher in the middle of the line, and I don't think the Eagles thought he was going to drop. It was a 3rd and long. They hit Goddard on that little in cut. They thought they'd get a catch and run out of it, and here comes Brian Burns, shot out of a damn cannon, tackled him in the open field.
Yeah.
He has one of those a week now. It's crazy.
He is tremendous. He's having a great year. He's probably one of the better outside pass rushers in the league, full of great, tremendous pass rushers on the outside.
I think he's the league leader in sacks right now with 7.
Him and the guy from Denver.
He has 7 also, Benito?
Yeah, Benito.
Okay.
And he plays this weekend, so let's see.
Yes.
But Benito's
the Giants
having a good
get him
year
next week, too.
But Burns, this guy in the run game, like in the pass game, off the ball, which I thought was a weakness for him because not too many guys that play with their hand in the dirt consistently, basically his whole career.
Shows what an athlete
can
is,
step, and not just an athlete, but how smart he is.
Good point.
You know, because like at the end of the day, like you got to be smarter as you get further away from the line. That's true because you have to do more, you have to talk more, you have to communicate more. The defensive linemen, they're waiting to hear anything, and then they're going right. You have to have a certain level of intelligence, and he has it. And to see him do the things that he does, and the ability to create on his own. You know, he can beat guys one-on-one. His stunts are insane. He beat the guard clean when he was off the ball, and he just dipped his shoulder like, I mean.
Dude, he was just supposed to be the pick, setting the pick for Abdul Carter, and he ends up being so fast he just goes right through.
Yeah, he's having an incredible year.
And they're enjoying using him and Carter on the same side.
Oh,
in
yeah.
stunts and twists.
And Carter's
now.
getting close. He's
getting close.
he's doing the right things. He's looking better, but the numbers haven't really showed up for him. But eventually they will.
I'm with you on that.
Because I feel like his pass rush abilities are second to none.
And he also set the edge in the run game on a couple plays.
Yep.
Too.
And these are not big outside guys. Like yes, they're big men for NFL for being in the NFL, but they're not the 270-pound, 265, 280-pound run stuffers, but they're doing a great job because they're using their quickness. They're using their explosivity on the run game. Because usually that's a pass game type trait, but they're using it in the run game. Like when Kayvon Thibodeau beat the guard pull, we just beat him cleanly. Like the plays like that happen because not just because of their athleticism, because of their awareness.
And look, the Giants heading into this game, the Eagles had been vulnerable this year, right? They had played all one-score games this year, but they had won on the margins. They had only turned it over once all year.
They know how to win. That's a team that knows how to win. They proved that for a few years now.
Well, guess what? In this game, the Giants turned the Eagles over twice. They only had one all year. Jalen Hurts fumble heading into this game. They won that. Eagles just 1 of 9 on third down. Giants 11 of 16 on third down.
Incredible.
The Eagles were historically good. They were 12 of 13, or was it 11 and 12? Maybe 11 for 12 in the red zone this year heading into this game. And they were perfect in goal-to-go situations scoring touchdowns. In this game, the Giants only allow them to go 2 and 3 in the red zone. The Giants, better. They were the perfect team in the red zone, 3 of 3. And if you count that Jackson Dart run from the 20-yard line, you have to be inside the 20 for it to be a red zone thing, or they would have been 4 for 4. And I'll go back to one series, JC, and this has been the difference for me in the red zone. They had it 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. They ran the ball 4 straight times.
The Giants.
2 runs, a Jackson Dart quarterback sneak, and then a Cam Scatterboo run, I believe was 1st and goal at the 4. And 4 runs, get 15 yards in the red zone, that's a touchdown. You're not going to have a lot of room to throw the ball down there. You're not going to be able to, spread people out and, do clever stuff in the pass game. You got to be able to run the ball down there.
Yeah.
And with Cam Scatterboo and his ability to always fall forward for an extra couple of yards, their red zone run game to me has just been a complete game changer since he became the primary back, and they've been leaning into him in the red zone. To me, it's just been a complete reverse of some of the early season struggles we saw, and now the Giants are very good in the red zone. You combine Scatterboo's running with then Dart's mobility, it's a very tough thing for teams to defend.
Yeah, you want to be good in the red zone, you run the ball efficiently down there.
Correct.
And the Giants a lot of times were facing, they were good on 1st and 2nd down. They were facing 3rd and 2s, 3rd and short, 3rd and 1s, and that's something we haven't seen here. There's been a lot of 3rd and longs for a long time. Ever since I've been working with you, John, we've been speaking about this a lot, over the years. And the Giants, this season. And look, last week we haven't spoke since before the game last week. Last week, that was atrocious. It was 5 consecutive turnovers in a row. But that first quarter, I should say, that first quarter looked reminiscent of what we've seen. Besides the end of that, like we've seen more of that from the Dart-led Giants than the 5 turnovers.
JC, 3 straight games where they've scored on their first drive.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Amazon?
And not running 35 plays either.
Correct.
2 yards a pop, a big play, runs, passes efficiently. He's layering the ball very well. That touchdown pass that he threw to little Jordan Humphreys, that was a beautiful throw and great defensive play. I forgot who's
Makuba, I think, knocked it out.
Yeah, and that was a great play by him. But Adoree was on him initially,
and it was a really nice throw.
Right over his
really good,
beautiful
throw.
pass.
I agree.
And then I looked like, he dropped it. But then I looked again. I was like, no, that's a great defensive play.
And that's the thing. We talk about some of the loose plays and the sack avoidance stuff. I thought there were a couple really good plays from the pocket from him in this game. I thought maybe some of the best ones we've seen since he became the starter. That was one of them, even though it was incomplete. Another one was. It might have been earlier in that one same drive. He takes the snap. There's a 6-man pressure. They protect it. He looks to his left, tries to go to little Jordan Humphrey in a little stop route. It's not there. He quickly turns to the right, gets Wanda Robinson coming across the field on a backside crosser, hits him for like a 16-yard game. Then the other play where there was I'm not sure it was a free runner, but there was definitely someone that got through and gave pressure. And he had a man in his face, and he throws it to Theo Johnson as he's beginning to go into his break on a little out route as he's getting, smashed by a defensive lineman.
I think that's the play I was
and he
talking
hits
about
him
earlier.
right on the money on the out. So I thought we're seeing some progress now when maybe, it was just a lot of running around and, first option stuff the first couple of games. I think we saw, all right, I'm seeing the pocket, reading the field stuff coming along a little bit better in this game.
Yeah, he's playing the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
The 2025 quarterback position is, a guy that can definitely pass in the pocket, but then also a guy that can extend the play with his legs to throw the football, and then a guy that can run. And he's doing that at a very high level right now. Mistakes last week costed him.
Right there. Yeah.
The mistakes last week costed him. The dumb play that we saw when he dropped the football. And this is how I say you counter those plays, because I've spoke about this before. Rookies will make mistakes. That's a rookie mistake that he made, just losing the football. Like, no one does that in the NFL besides a rookie, right? But you need your veterans to step up and make a play. I was very disappointed, and I hate, because I think he's so great for the Giants, and he's been so great. But Slayton, it was a big-time drop, the fumble, the scoutable fumble. We haven't talked about last week, but the ability to respond. Yeah, they didn't do it in the Saints game. They kind of just – it snowballed on them, literally drive after drive, mistake after mistake. I look for veterans to pull them out. But then this week coming in, they responded. The first game of the season against the Commanders, I wanted them to respond. The offense did. Defense kind of took a step back. The Chargers, they responded. Saints, they started out so well, and then the mistakes kind of took over. And that's something that I need to see improvement here. I need to see improvement with the mistakes. I need to see improvement with the penalties, especially in the defensive backfield. That's something that can haunt the Giants.
And missed assignments, too.
Big time.
Like, they were lucky that,
yeah,
for some reason, Hurts on one of the easiest throws
Smith.
he was going to have all year.
That was a touchdown.
And he overthrew him by like 6 yards, so it wasn't even close. And everyone was in cover one on that play, except for one guy.
Yeah.
And Cordell Flott squatted for some reason. I don't know if he thought they were in cover two or what.
And he's been having a phenomenal year.
Yeah,
he's been playing very well.
I mean, he basically, at least in this game, he earned full-time reps at that second cornerback spot.
He's CB1 in my eyes. He's CB1 in my eyes. He's playing the best out of any cornerback.
You think so?
Yes, 100%.
Better than Adebo?
Yes.
I don't disagree with that.
Adebo's a little handsy. He's a little handsy. I've heard from New Orleans, from my guys, when he first got signed, he's a little feast or famine.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect him to settle in a little bit more. He's a veteran in this league. I talked about it before, about him being a little bit hesitant on tackles and giving some additional yards. I think I've seen a little bit of improvement this past week. So I definitely accept him to make a step forward. What I saw from the defense, though, was guys flying around.
Yes.
Whether they were making mistakes or not, because mistakes will happen, John. Like, no one's going to grade out 100% for the game. It doesn't happen. And if it does, it's like once a year per player. You know what I mean? That's it. So there will be mistakes. But you need to have guys flying around. One guy make mistakes, 10 guys flying around. You can correct that mistake.
Right. And I'll just say this about the defense. Second half, much better than the first half. They were getting off the field a lot, which I liked. Pass rush wasn't quite as consistent in the backfield as I would have liked in this game. Again, you didn't really you got one pressure out of Abdul Carter, I think. Burns had the 2 sacks. I don't think he had any of the pressures before then. They were okay, but I thought the pass rush could have been a little bit better, especially against a banged-up Eagles offensive line.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes there's a little too much room in the secondary. You're right. They did play some tighter coverage in the second half. But look, I think we're getting there. Couple other notes. Yes.
Before you do that,
please go.
They took away what the Eagles did really well, which is basically running routes against man-to-man coverage.
Right.
That's what they excelled in. And the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, they played man-to-man coverage the whole game.
In fact, I can look that up for you. Let me see.
And the Flott interception, that was man-to-man. That was a beautiful play. You want to talk about playing the cornerback position, man-to-man defense?
Cover zero. That was no help.
Yeah, that's
no help.
So he stuck on him like glue. Great break. And I was like, who caught him? I'm like, who caught Flott? Because I know Flott can roll. It was Saquon.
Yeah,
it was Saquon. The only person that could catch him on the field caught him. But like the play he's been making, and again, limiting the mistakes. Mental errors can get you beat. Mental errors, I think, got them beat against New Orleans last week. So if they can limit that, then the sky's the limit for this team. And it's such a different outlook on this team than after the Chiefs game. And going into the building today, leaving the stadium yesterday, what are we looking at for that man-to-man?
Only 26%.
Really?
26 in cover one, and then 4 in cover 0. So that's actually much lower. The Giants usually around 40% cover one team. They have them cover 2 10%, Cover 3, 25%.
Okay,
Quarters,
so that's what
18%.
I was seeing more to cover 3 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cover 3 looks like cover 1, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then I think cover, how much were they in cover? I thought they were in only cover 6 only once. But yeah, so they did a little bit of, actually mixed up the covers a little bit more than usual in this game.
Yeah. No, I think against this team you have to.
You have to, correct.
You know, a team that you know they're going to try to establish a run, a team that has 2 basically number 1 wide receivers on the outside, fantastic tight end who had a pretty good game against the Giants.
Again.
Yeah, again. But they responded. The whole team was poised, not just Jackson Dart. The whole team was poised. Like that interception came in the fourth quarter, at the end of the game when you need to make a play. And the thing we haven't seen from the Giants in a couple of years is the poise to finish these tight games, right? The poise to be able to make the play when you need to make the play. And that's what you saw yesterday. You saw a whole bunch of guys that were poised, that responded, that got hit in the mouth early. The Eagles did have a lead for a little bit, and they responded. And that's the word I wanted to use because that's the word I've been using since the beginning of the season, and they're doing it now. You're seeing a team that's responding, a coach that's responding, and look, I'm disappointed, to be honest, and I love my Giants fans. Disappointed in the Giants fans a little bit because the stadium was a little empty.
I will
and
say
I saw
this.
a lot of green jerseys there.
I agree
but
with
they
that,
were loud.
but
The guys that were there were loud.
I will give credit to the fans that were there because you did not hear the Eagles fans as much during the game.
This is true.
I didn't get one Fly Eagles Flies chant. I got none of that.
Right.
Which was
and
which
they
was
had
good to
success
see.
early. They were moving the ball efficiently early. They were. I think at one point Jalen was like 8 of 9 or something like that.
Yeah, the Eagles came out fast, but the Giants kept scoring. It's funny. This is what I'll close with this. I got 2 things to close with. Then I want to get to the calls. Make sure you guys have a chance to get them because I got to get off right at 1:30. One, I want to give the Giants schemers in the run game credit. I thought they did a lot of interesting stuff with guys pulling, tight ends in motion
Guards
and
pulling,
stuff like that.
Tackles pulling.
And they had 2 of those outside pitch plays that I thought worked well. So I thought more creative than usual in the run game. I thought it worked well. Number 2, this is fun. Did you see the Amazon stat about the first quarter scoring?
Yes. That the Giants haven't scored more than 10 points?
7. I think it was, right?
7 points?
Yeah, I think it was 7.
How long? How long was it?
81 games.
Oh my gosh.
So it was 5 seasons. Now, we've always talked about how this team has started slow in a lot of these games.
Too.
I didn't quite realize the magnitude of that statistic, but the good news is that now that we know what the statistic was, we know that it's broken. So they did it this week, so we don't have to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
All right, 201-939-4513, 201-939-4513. John Settle Podcast, folks. Baldy's breakdown is going up later today. We're going to have the plays that he broke down. Those will be up on our social media platforms, YouTube, Reels, Shorts, all that good stuff. And then my interview with him for our podcast will be up on the Giants Huddle later on today. Just find the Giants.com/podcast, your favorite podcast platform, Giants YouTube channel, and just search for Giants Podcast Network or Giants Huddle on your favorite podcast platform. It'll be there. And, of course, on the Giants mobile app as well. All right. Let's get to the phones. We also have some YouTube comments. And, again, I got to get off right at 1:30 today, folks. I have to do an interview with one of our radio affiliates, so I got to get to that. Let's go to Rob in Yonkers. He will lead us off today. Hi, Rob.
Good afternoon, guys. Happy Victory Friday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We haven't had many of those. The Giants have been over the last 10 on Thursday night football. So it's been a while since we've had a Victory Friday, since Tom Coughlin was coaching, Jonathan Casillas. And actually, you weren't even here in 2015. Right?
I wasn't here.
So it was so long ago. It was pre-Casillas.
No, I was here. I wasn't here in 15.
Okay,
that was my first year.
That was your first year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was definitely good. I'm happy Scatterbull got some new gloves because at the Saints game he was complaining about his gloves. So I'm happy.
Rob, I would say Cam Scatterbull was probably just a little annoyed at himself at that point, and he was looking for something to be mad about, and he blamed the gloves. That would be my opinion on that one.
So quick things that I'll get up. I know you got other callers. Holland, number 21. There was a big play down the field, and I feel if he would have turned his head, he would have intercepted our ball. We have that issue. Jason Seaman was like our best cornerback ever, but our receivers don't. I mean, our cornerbacks don't turn their head.
Rob, just real quick. 21 is a Debo. It's not Holland.
Sorry. Okay. All right. I meant Holland. Okay. All right. But yeah, our cornerbacks don't turn their head. I feel that if they turn their head, I feel that they definitely could get some more interceptions.
I'm not sure if he necessarily. I'm assuming you're talking about the deep ball down the left sideline to Devontae Smith that he got called for defensive pass interference. Is that the player talking about?
No. It was actually it was actually on the, I think it was on the right side, if I'm correct. And I don't think there was a flag on that one. I think he just basically said our cornerback didn't turn his head and the ball just went right past him.
I don't remember that play.
That play either. Yeah, and I just watched the game again.
And real quick, the high five to the ref by Jackson Dart was really, really, really funny, and I just love the way Scatterbull was just running over people. And one more thing. If we keep winning, I feel by the end of this season, these records can be changed. I feel we're good enough to basically still make it to the playoffs. That's just the way I feel.
Okay, sounds good, Robbie. I appreciate the call. Look, if you can keep playing this well against good teams like the Eagles, you have a chance.
Yeah,
you have a chance.
Absolutely.
Even at 2-4. The shame is that you've had every opportunity to be 3-3.
Yeah.
If not for the 5 turnovers against the Saints and then 64-yard field goal, whatever it was, against the Dallas Cowboys. So, look, it is what it is. You are where you are. You got tough games coming up.
That'll make the Giants 4-2.
I think asking for both of them is probably being a little bit greedy. I'll ask for one of them.
No, I understand, but this the thing with the Giants, man. Like the season is still in front of them. You know, the statistical, no team, whatever percentage of the teams that started 0-3 didn't make it. Those numbers don't matter. You know what I mean? Like it might predict that maybe they won't because of. But this team is not the same team that started the season.
It might mean it's unlikely. It doesn't mean that it can't happen.
That's exactly what it means, but
Correct.
It doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Right, exactly right.
Even if it says 0, it's still not impossible because there's still going to be one team that does it. Why not be the Giants?
Correct.
And I don't want to look down the road. This is a tough week coming up against a really good Denver team. And to play in Denver is very difficult. I almost died when I was there, and I was only playing special teams. I couldn't breathe. It was very difficult to play in Denver. But they're up for a tall task. So what I want from these Giants is just to respond. Let's not read the clippings. Let's keep our focus because I feel like maybe it was a lack of concentration against the Saints for all the mistakes that was made. And let's not read the clippings. Let's go in and say the Giants are still the underdog, right? And you have that mentality. You go in and offensively they can keep scoring as early as they have. That can get the most out of this defense that's just filled with pass rushers that are hungry to get sacks.
Hey, look, play with leads, man. Play with leads. You can run the football and you can rush the passer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could do that, you're in great shape.
That's the Eagles' philosophy. That's the philosophy of the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Aiden in Boston. He's up next. Hi, Aiden.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Happy Victory Friday.
Go ahead. What do you got?
All right. Yeah. So first, I want to say how many times it's been so long. I feel like it's been since the Colts game when the Giants clinched the playoffs, where the Giants played such a clean game where they just run away from it, and the whole game.
It wasn't a clean game.
I mean,
it was not a clean game though.
Games where they played well, but I mean, even last year, in Seattle, I mean, that was even
not a lot of penalties.
Cleanest game. And then also, I want to say that I feel like there's been so many times where the Giants for a team like the Eagles, are I felt like it was a get-right game, totally. And then, even the first play or so, Saquon ran for 18 yards. I mean, his longest run this season was 17 yards. And I felt oh, no, is this going to be one of those games A.J. Brown and not Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown get back on track? But, I mean, the Giants, you guys always talk about complementary football. I mean, all three sides. I mean, we won this turnover battle. I mean, with how many points we scored too, I felt it wasn't perfect by every mean. I mean, no game could ever be perfect, but I feel like it's as good as it gets. And I mean, it's frustrating that not every game could be like this. And I feel like the Giants did a good job taking care of the Eagles' weaknesses, just like they did against the Chargers. But it felt really great that this was a game you could finally run away with. And
absolutely.
The whole primetime narrative too, I mean, totally flipped it, and everybody counting the Giants out in this game. I mean, I think the Eagles were a 7.5-point favorite by Vegas.
Yeah, and look, Aiden, but as Jackson Dart said after the game, I appreciate the call. That stuff just doesn't matter at this point for the players. They don't care about that stuff. But look, for the Giants to beat the Eagles when the Eagles have all their players playing and they're trying to win, to beat them by 3 scores, significant. You haven't seen the Giants do that. And was it a completely clean game? No. They had 6 penalties, 55 yards, but no turnovers in the game for the Giants.
Yeah.
And they played a very good game. They were pretty good against the Chargers 2 weeks ago too. So that's 2 straight home games where you can send Giant fans happy with wins against a good team. So you can't argue with that, man.
No, not at all. And for the whole clean game, you're not going to see a clean game. But the turnovers is, I think,
only
it's
2 wins the
huge.
Giants have of the 2 games that they were in the positive turnover margin, plus 2 in both games.
That's it, and that's most likely. That's how you look at all teams. Probably going to follow the same thing, the same statistical type, trend. That's just what it is. It's the most important thing in football besides actually scoring points is the turnover battle. And if they can limit those, man. I just feel like the offense and the ability what Kafka can do with Dart. It looks like they're trusting him more. They're opening it up more. I feel like his passing yards will increase as time goes on, especially if they are not playing with the lead and they do have to pass the ball. I'm very comfortable with that guy throwing the ball. I hope he doesn't throw the ball 45 times a game, but I feel like the way he poised himself in the pocket, his ability to escape, his ability to create, like that Wan'Dale touchdown was Jackson Dart. He created that. He was pressured. He got out, rolled to his right, kept his eyes downfield, threw a dime, and then Wan'Dale Robinson did the rest. But Jackson Dart led those first 2 touchdowns with his legs. He ran the first one in and created more with his legs and extended the time. And that's what you saw in college. Mm-hmm. I don't watch college ball. So when we drafted Jackson Dart, I didn't know anything. And then I started watching him a little bit. I said, okay, I like that dude. And that is showing up here. The RPO game wasn't as prevalent as it was even against the Chargers, right? Yeah. They're mixing it up a little bit because I think they're trusting him a lot more.
I agree. And you should. The more he plays, the more you should be able to do. Tim in Charleston, he's up next. Hi, Tim.
John, JC.
What's up?
Schmeelk,
What's up, Tim?
It feels like this is the second time I'm talking to you today.
It might be. Well, it was because I think you called it, 12:45 last night, Tim, on the postgame show? Yeah. It sounded like you
text me so late, I was just going to bed, too.
Honestly, it's funny. I will
I wasn't asleep.
I will tell you a joke about that in a second. Tim, it sounded last night on the postgame call that maybe you had a couple of adult beverages watching that football game last night. Is that true?
Maybe a couple.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
I thought so.
I was out on my patio at 1 a.m. smoking a cigar, my second victory cigar, and hoping to try not to wake up the neighbors.
Yes,
now I can be my normal loud self. But anyway, just a complete team victory, offense, defense, special teams. Our coverage teams were great. That average starting field position, as Paul mentioned last night, 36 for us, 22 for them. That field position games, it just tilts the field. The other things I wanted to mention, second game in a row, we held the run in check. After those first 2 Saquon slashing runs, we allowed them under 50 yards rushing. I was very happy to see Jalen Hyatt get involved. Maybe that'll boost his confidence, and the kid could start showing something. In that DPI in the end zone was huge. And all the Philly teams lost last night, which was icing on the cake. And one thing at the end of the game on the broadcast, they called Dart and Scadaboo. They referred to them as the frat brothers. The frat brothers.
The
frat boys.
I'm
not a big fan.
That is not incorrect. That is not incorrect.
And that's how they seem, even though I'm not a big fan of frat boys, and New Yorkers generally aren't either. But that works for me on those 2 guys.
Cam Scadaboo ripped off his shirt and flexed on the Amazon postgame show. If that is not frat boy behavior, I don't know what it is.
I have done tons of sweet visits at MetLife Stadium for Giants fans, and there are tons of frat boys in those suites, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's where they belong. They don't belong out in the seats with the regular people. But anyway, I don't want to.
Well, Tim, Tim, I feel like you might have had a bad experience at a frat one day. Is that what happened here?
What's going on here?
No, I never joined one. But one last thing I just wanted to say on that last drive, when we just kept running it up the gut and pounding with Scadaboo, I'll tell you, I had tears of happiness, literal tears, in my eyes, because it just reminded me of old school Giants football. And in the locker room speech that when Dable did, when he said, as the offensive line played great, the whole locker room erupted in applause. And then he said, and on that last drive when we ran it, that's really hard to do. One guy yelled out, "That's football. That's New York football." And I was like,
nice.
It just felt so freaking old school. All right, guys, thank you very much.
I'll
talk to you next week, and I'll take the rest of the year.
And I love them giving Mr. Mara the game ball afterwards, too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Awesome.
That was awesome, especially with the news that we got not too long ago.
Correct. And,
there was a point that I wanted to make earlier. I don't know why I did it, and I got a lot of respect for Zach Bond. Cam Scatterbull ran through him all night.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to talk about the Jackson Dart 20-yard touchdown run where he dead-legged him to the left and went back to the right.
That's what I saw just now, but then I remembered that Cam Scatterbull ran him over on the sideline and then ran through him for a touchdown. I think it was consecutive plays, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was.
And I have a lot of respect for Zach Bond.
Oh, he's a great player.
He's a guy that stuck around the league, was in New Orleans for a little bit, and not really, and then he was all pro last year, and the Giants made Zach Bond look a little silly last night.
And Tim brought up the special teams. I should give some love. Paul's not here, as usually our special teams rep on this show. Jamie Gillen, for the second straight week on these kickoffs, he's placing the ball in the right spot.
Not the first one.
Not the first one. That's correct.
That's why when he was like special teams, I was like, there was some mistakes.
No, the first one, you're right, because they got the ball at the 40.
Mm-hmm.
After that, he forced Bigsby to drop 2 kicks.
Mm-hmm. Is he putting like a back spin on it or something?
He's like sideways spin. And then last week against the Saints, he was putting the ball right at the goal line, so they had to return it. And the same deal, they had to down one.
You got to make decisions sometimes.
You make tough decisions, and the guys are having trouble catching it. So give Jamie Gillen some credit. Again, he had the one bad one that went out to the 40, but I'll take that if you're getting the other really good plays that he's gotten them as the kickoff guy the last 2 weeks.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Right before the half was over, the timeout was called by the Giants when the clock was running down. Was there any, what was the reason for that? I was so confused.
Well, the Eagles called 3 timeouts as the Giants were.
Well, it was the last possession for the Eagles. They had a few seconds left.
Well, I would imagine the Giants were just trying to get their defense set.
Okay, because they probably sub-laid it or something like that.
Maybe.
They wasn't going to get that snap off. The clock was going to run out.
I don't think the Giants called the timeout when the clock was moving.
Did?
I think they
it was the
pass incomplete. Oh, the play clock was down. That I didn't notice. That I'm not sure.
It was the play clock. And I didn't notice that at the stadium, but I noticed it when I was watching the game today.
Interesting. I didn't realize
the TV
that.
copy,
okay.
And I was like, why? But you might be right. It was probably trying to get their defense lined up. Looked off kilter. But then the half ended the next play because Jalen kept the ball.
On a play like that, you just don't want them to get over the top. Maybe they saw something where they didn't like a formation, or maybe one of their guys wasn't deep enough or something like that. They wanted to make sure they had things right.
Because when I saw it, I was like, what? Because I know what happened, but I didn't know that the Giants called timeout when I was at the stadium. So when that happened, I was like, what? Like trying to figure out what exactly is going on for the Giants to do that, because you stopped the clock and they would have probably got a penalty and got pushed back. I don't know. You never know these things, though. That's why I asked you, because I didn't know if you knew or not.
I did not. Let's go to Steve in Staten Island, who's up next. Steve, what's happening, man?
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
What's up?
And hey, John, how are you? Good talking to you guys.
Yep, what do you got?
Listen, I have a question, but I'll get to that in a second. But just to echo 99% of everyone today, seeing that game, watching that game last night, I have to say brought back a lot of memories for me. Watching some really good old-fashioned Giant games. It did. It just, and I too am not ashamed to admit there was a couple of moments of some tears of happiness. But of course, I blame my wife because I told her the hot wings were too hot. But I needed an out. But I needed an out, Jonathan. I needed an out. But
that's great.
It did, dude. At that plausible deniability, if you could get away with it, because I couldn't move. My daughter's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "These wings are killing me." What do you mean what's wrong with me? She's like, I'm like, "Do you not feel the heat coming off this?"
Gosh.
Oh my God! But it was funny. But my wife's like, "Yeah, okay." The source said mild, but we'll go with it. But
can't fool the wife, Steve. The wife always knows.
God, bro,
the wife always knows.
I mean, after about 5 minutes, she's like, "Something's not right here because it says mild, you moron." Got me now. But
love it.
My thing was, I will admit I was one of those fans that didn't want Dart to start. I said, listen, let this kid learn. They win one game, they win 10 games with Russell Wilson. Just let him learn. Let him watch. Let's not burn him out. Let's not have another Daniel Jones replay. But I have to say, up to this point, I think this was a good move. And I love what I see because, again, that game yesterday was so eerily reminiscent of some good old-fashioned Giants football, man. I mean, I could remember watching back in the day Giants-Eagles games, them old NFC title, those old NFC Sunday games, 2 o'clock on Channel 2. It brought back a lot of memories. And, it's good to see it. And listen, hopefully they learned after the New Orleans fiasco, obviously. And I have to say, honestly, kudos to that offensive line, who, in my opinion, have really – I'm going to go back, John, and say since week 2 I noticed the subtle little changes. And up to yesterday, I thought that was one hell of a cohesive unit, bro. I mean, they just connected.
Yeah, I would say, Steve, the big difference happened, of course, when Andrew Thomas got back in the lineup. I mean, that makes he changes everything.
Pitch and shutout.
And look, and Steve, look, I think you make a really good point. Appreciate the call. Lay off the hot wings.
Can I have one quick?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah,
go ahead, real fast.
I have to ask, and again, loved what they did yesterday. Freaking awesome, but. Why is it that Shane Bowen is just so in love with this zone defense? I'm kind of wondering, with a guy like Atwater who is a missile, don't you think once in a while you kind of want to send him over the middle? I'm just curious, do you think going into Denver's game and then the rematch with the Eagles, do you kind of see him being maybe mixing up his schemes? Thank you, guys. You guys are great.
You, Steve.
Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue.
See, Steve, they play off man a lot, so maybe that's why it's confusing you. But the Giants play man at the second or third highest rate of any team in the National Football League. They're almost 40% this year.
Yeah, and it was less a little bit yesterday, but
yes.
I thought it was more because they played a lot more cover 3, which kind of is man.
Yeah.
With certain routes.
And by the way, quarters can kind of look like man too sometimes, depending on how teams run against it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really know because he kind of is wrong about the last point that he made. But man-to-man defense, if you can play man-to-man defense, it's the best defense to play.
Here's the thing. Bowen's play calling becomes so creative and upfront when the team's playing with the lead.
Yeah.
It's almost like watching a different defensive coordinator. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
The formations, the guys standing up, the stunts, the twists, the movement, the fake blitz, the dropping out.
I'm thinking it was as the season goes on, but we've been playing with leads. So
well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is that. I don't know. Whatever the case might be, these 2 games where they've had leads and they're able to play from ahead, I've seen some lot of fun stuff that they're doing up front and different things with these guys to create pressure.
And when you can get creative, you give a quarterback different things to look at. You show something and the hesitation, the not knowing exactly what a defense is in when you snap that ball. When you do that, most quarterbacks in the league can pretty much pick you apart. The decent ones can. The decent ones can do a good job against that. The really good ones will shred you.
Yeah, and look, I know there was a lot of talk last week about, the Giants, they have like one of the lowest disguise rates in the league and stuff like that. I don't know. To me, they start with 2 safeties deep almost all the time, and then they move into other stuff. Yeah. So, to me, I don't think they're before the snap signaling, all right, we're single high here, we're 2 high here. You're the defensive guy. You correct me, but I feel like they rarely play with a loaded box. They play with light boxes. They play 2 safeties high. And then they do everything off of that, or am I wrong?
No, it looks like that. Yeah, it looks like that. I talked about a couple weeks ago about like some motions that they kind of got down late with because their safety was basically high up top.
Right.
So it's good when you can look the same every time the ball is snapped. That's confusing too.
Right.
Because if you don't show your hand, first down, second down, third down, and you look exactly the same on defense, but you're running different defenses, that complicates a lot.
It's the same thing like they always talk about Sean McVay in the offense, right? His runs look like passes, his passes look like runs. Everything looks the same. And look, hopefully you will see more of that disguise stuff as you get further into the season, to your point, and the secondary, the communication gets better. They get used to playing with each other. 2 points I want to build on, because I thought Steve made some really good ones. The offensive line, the protection is certainly better. The run blocking, I thought, this week was even better than the pass protection. And again, the pass protection, I thought, wasn't as good as the last 2 weeks, but I thought it was still good enough. The thing about Dart, because I was one of the guys I wanted to wait to put him into, so I want to address his point, because I think he made a good one. I think there were a couple things that I underestimated. One, since he's come in to be the starter, I think the protection has been a lot better. So I think that's given him the chance to succeed.
Andrew Thomas has been back.
Yes, it certainly has helped. Number 2, and I do think this is important, they've run the ball a lot better. Remember, they had in the two games that they won with Jackson Dart, they ran the ball over 40 times in one game, and I think it was 39 times yesterday, right?
39.
So that's going to help a young quarterback.
For 172.
John, how many times have we seen this team being able to run the ball 40 times in a game because of the game flow and the score? They can't.
They never.
So again, that helps the quarterback.
100%.
And then this is the last part of it. In terms of Dart as a passer, he's looked exactly how I thought he would look if they brought him in early in the year. This isn't a lot of get back, get to your fourth or fifth step, go through 3 progressions, get rid of the ball. That's not what we're seeing. Now, again, there were a couple plays where we did see that, and I think we're seeing more of it, and that's great. I didn't think his athleticism would play as well as it has in the NFL. I thought, in college, he can move around a little bit, he can create some space, and not that he would be immobile in the pros. He would still be able to move around, gain some yards on scrambles. I didn't think he'd be shaking all-pro linebackers that were spying him in the middle of the field.
He was spying him. He was.
He was the spy on that play. I did not think that was going to be the level of his athleticism. So I think his legs have impacted the game more, and we've talked about this around draft time. I'm not sure I've said it to you on any of our shows. I've certainly said it on the air and to Paul. It's very hard to draft pocket-only quarterbacks now, right? Mm-hmm. Because it takes so long for the college kids to figure out how to win in the pocket in the NFL. How do you survive the growing pains? Right? Not everyone's Joe Burrow, where they figure this stuff out right away. Yeah. The only reason Josh Allen was able to stay on the field the first 2 years of his career is because of what he could do as a runner. Yeah. He was a mess as a passer. Yeah. A mess. So Dart will allow you to keep him on the field because of the loose plays, keeping plays alive with his legs, running. So even it takes a while for the other stuff to come around, the art of playing quarterback in the NFL is what I'll call it, you can still be successful because of the legs, because of the athleticism, because of the creative plays that he can make. And while I thought, again, he had the mobility, I didn't think the level of creativity would reach the level it has against NFL defenders. Because it's different going from college to the pros. 100%. But to his credit, he's been able to do it. And that's why it's been able to work coming in just in, week 4.
I fully agree. He's definitely surprised me because I never thought that his legs would take him this far. Because this is not the strongest part of his game. His game is throwing the football.
Right.
That's what he did in the SEC. He threw the football very well.
What was it? Second player in NFL history to have more than 50 rushing yards in his first 3 starts as a rookie quarterback or something like that. I mean, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And they were like the decisiveness, right? The awareness to be able to pull those things off. There was a play where he put his head down and got the first down on the sideline, right? I need a little bit more discernment. I need a little bit more of that.
I'll live with it if he's trying to get a first down.
Yeah, but don't. Right. I agree with that. But like, just don't take unnecessary ones.
Yes, correct.
This is literally the whole organization is depending on you. His history. Like, there's guys that's calling in here that's been fans for 60 years. They're depending on you, Jackson. And
do it for Steven Staten Island, Jackson.
Oh, let me tell you. So
do it for Paul Dottino.
I watched the Saints game, and I was down there. I was in Benson's suite, Rita Benson's suite.
Wearing your little Saints jersey?
No, sir.
Oh, really?
No, sir.
There was no Saints jersey?
I was neutral.
Okay.
I only wear Giants gear now.
I
mean, I'll wear my Saints hat. I'll wear other teams, but I didn't do it there.
They didn't show it on TV when you did the coin toss. Did you have the Saints jersey on then?
No.
Really?
No, I didn't have a jersey on the whole time.
Interesting.
I had a white T-shirt, white Jordans on blue jeans.
What was that like being out there for the coin toss?
It was cool, but Burns was looking at me like, bro, really, bro?
Was he really?
Yeah. I posted a video. You see me going like this because he was looking at me like that. But, like, I'm with Cam Jordan, my former teammate, Demario Davis, who I've known for a long time. I had a 20-minute conversation with Drew Brees before the game.
Oh, that was cool.
We were just on the field.
That must have been fun.
Just chopping it up, and that was good. And I told him because he told me a couple of things in my career that really kind of got my confidence up.
Yeah.
I told him about the time where he was like, hey, 62. First of all, I wore number 62 at linebacker at 225 pounds.
That is a bad linebacker number. It's a bad linebacker.
So he said, hey, 62, man, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. And I was like, what? Like, he don't know my name, but he's giving me acknowledgement. And then when I was playing for Tampa, when we played in New Orleans and they beat us, and I'm walking up the field, and I said bye to all my other guys, and Drew ran to me.
Oh, wow, really?
He came over to me and grabbed me and said, man, keep it up, man. I'm so proud of you, da-da-da. And again, the confidence that he had, because it's Drew Brees, man. Like,
Hall of Fame quarterback, man.
You know, like, and his leadership and all of that stuff. So I was able to do that with him. I was in the suite. I did my suite visits in New Orleans, like I did do here for the Giants. And then I get to the suite, and then I don't know if it was the first dart run or one of the runs, he was running, and I was like, slide. And the whole suite turned around and looked at me like this. I was like, let me just go sit down. Let me go sit down. It was so hard to watch the game.
JC rooting for the Giants in the Saints owner's suite.
In the Saints owner's suite. Next to Mickey Loomis, too.
I got to shake your head, brother. That's pretty good.
I sat down, and I was really quiet after that.
Oh, that is great.
I didn't really react to anything. I was like, okay, that's not good.
It's funny.
I was keeping it to myself.
I had in my head I wanted to ask you about that stuff. I completely forgot about it with everything that happened last night. But now that you mentioned it, that's great.
It was interesting.
I love it. Oh, that's
interesting.
we have to talk more off the air about that. That's very funny. All right, let's go to, is this Kiwan in Patterson? What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Is it Kiwan?
Yes, Kiwan.
Kiwan, what's going on, man? How are you, dude?
Man?
We're great.
I'm well, man. Just on my Cam Scatterable stuff right now, man. Great win. All I'm gonna say is, next 2 weeks, I think we're gonna get back to 500, fellas. This quarterback is amazing. He's definitely the future. He's the real deal. Way better than Daniel Jones. No disrespect.
Daniel Jones having a good year, bro.
And Kiwan, just remember what Daniel Jones looked like as a rookie in the phone calls we were taking on these shows when he was a rookie here.
First game,
he won his first 2 games as a starter.
It was incredible.
He was good. Just my opinion. I just feel like there's something about Dart that it wasn't with him. And it's not, very few quarterbacks has it.
I agree
with that. One of my friends, everybody's comparing him to Josh Allen. He has a long ways to go, but once he gets there, I feel like he's definitely our guy. He's our guy.
Yeah, Kiwan, it is not fair to compare anyone to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a mutant. He is different.
Exactly.
Jackson Dart's going to be his own dude, and that's okay.
Exactly. But yeah, man, looking forward to great Giants football. I enjoyed the win. I enjoyed the hell out of it with some booze. You guys have a great. I actually reside in Jersey City too, man. I never knew you were from Jersey City. Beautiful city. Beautiful city to live in. Great environment. The atmosphere is amazing. But guys, y'all have a good day, all right, man?
Yeah, you too, Kiwan. Thank you for the call, man. Really appreciate it. On the Dart stuff, guys, just remember, it's the first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
JC, what's the most yards he's thrown for in a game this year?
195.
202 actually against the Saints.
Oh, he threw for 202 last week.
But some of that isn't.
I mean,
that is
he turned the ball over 3 times too. So I think I overlooked it.
And that is some garbage time yardage when you're down 2 scores late.
Yeah.
So guys. He's been and Dave said it in his press conference today. You should be excited about Jackson Dart. He has a lot. We've talked about all the great things he's done. Long way to go.
Yeah.
Before you have your guy for the next 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Long way to go.
And I do expect a New Orleans game to happen again for him because
he's a rookie. Of course it's going to.
Yeah. And he
for sure. And that's okay.
He can play. And as far as guys saying he's not ready, he wasn't ready, no one is ready to play quarterback in the NFL.
Nope. No one
it's like having a child for the first time. It's like you're not ready until you have the child. But you can be prepared as much as possible mentally and physically, and he was, he's ready to go.
Let's wrap this up, JC. Marcus in California is our last caller. Marcus, what's up?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
We're great.
What's up, Mark?
I called it. I told Sean and Madeline we were going to win, beat the Eagles. Man, JC tried to get me to go to the New Orleans game, and John talked to me out to go to the Dallas game. What's going on with you guys, man?
Hey. I tried to get you to go to the Denver game. If the Giants win next week, that means I was right.
Hey, I had a good time in New Orleans. That's John, the thing. The game wasn't so good, but I had a great time.
I'm sure you did. Hey, so this is my only question, like my statement and my question. So, beginning of the year, all I really was hoping for with Jackson Dart was for him to look like Bo Nix, right? Like I was okay if he played like Bo Nix.
And I think it's been similar.
Yeah, I think he is. I do.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm way happy, man. I was telling my wife last night, like, I feel like we're back. Like, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I feel like the Giants are back with Cam and Jackson. But I like his attitude. I see more Joe Burrow out of him. Like, he's not going to carve him up with his arm and stuff because he doesn't have Chase and Higgins, but I feel like his attitude's more Joe Burrow. But my question is if we go 1-1 over the next 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Either way, if we're 3-5, do we trade for a wide receiver, or do we just ride out the year and let it be where it is? Because
I don't think here's how. Go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry.
No, I love the way the guy stepped up and stuff. I just don't know that it's being able to be continued. You know,
no, I got you.
So if you I know that we should be in great salary cap next year. So if we do get somebody that does have a little bit of a contract, I mean, we have Jackson Dart on a rookie contract. We don't have to pay Kayvon for another year, which I absolutely think we should pay Kayvon at least until we have to pay Abdul Carter.
Right.
And so yeah, if we win another game, if we go 1-1, or even if we go to 4-4, I think we have to get a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I just know that we don't have a third-round pick, so I was thinking maybe next year's fourth and a 27 second round, and maybe they would trade for T. Higgins if Joe Flacco loses the next 2 games or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
we could throw him.
Avery, exactly.
Hypotheticals.
Yeah, Marcus. Thanks for the call, man.
It would have been before the Higgins contract.
Correct.
Yeah.
Look, I think you would trade for someone that would be here long term. I don't think you made a trade. You don't make a trade for a rental. You're a young team. You're developing. You don't trade draft picks for a rental. If you trade draft picks for somebody that's locked up long term and is going to be here and is a young guy, you don't have to pay him right away. Sure, I'd be open to something like that. Yeah. Does that player exist?
But he's talking
I don't know the answer
to that.
T.
Higgins just got signed, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
so we're going to have to give an arm and a leg to get him, and you got to cover his contract.
And they're just not trading him.
Right, at that point.
Correct.
Yeah,
All right, couple comments here, and then I have one more question, JC. We got about 90 seconds.
All right.
Avery Frederick. People making plays for a quarterback, a rarity in Giants football over the last several years, except for Malik Neighbors. That is correct. A Hawkeye 420. We have our franchise quarterback. Won't even criticize overreactions to this game. Everyone has earned the right to overreact to the win however they feel. We have been in the mud for too damn long. If there is a turnaround, the win will be remembered for starting it. No question, Hawkeye. We talk analytically about stuff here, but as a fan, feel whatever you want to feel. Ajani, the New York Giants have arrived. I'm ready for the Sights and Sounds video. Mike Becton is at work at that right in the back right now, one of our great video editors. Avery again. Brian Burns has been an all-pro. No argument for either one of us on that one. Emmanuel Moore, Burns is insane, but let's make something clear. Having KT Carter and Dexy helps him, and we cannot let KT leave. Give that dude a contract. Embo training the guard. I don't know. I think Illuminor is more of the guy who would move in the guard and have Bo stay at tackle. But I would definitely re-sign Illuminor. He says that. Get a free agent wide receiver or a wide receiver in the first round. I get it. Sounds good. Greg Denham, thank God. We needed that so bad. Can we turn the corner? Go Big Blue for life. So happy Giant fans in the chat today, JC.
That's so good.
This is the one question I have for you real quick. Got about 30 seconds before we got to run. The way the Giants are winning games this year, does it remind you of how they won games in 2022?
Mm-hmm.
It does to me an awful lot.
Yeah, it does. But they're winning a lot of one-score games. This is a little beatdown.
This was a 17-point win.
Yeah, this is a beatdown.
Now, the game against the Chargers was a little bit closer, but again, it wasn't like a last possession type of game either, so you're right. That is the difference between now and 22. I just mean about how the offense is kind of producing points, moving the ball, quarterback running a lot, stuff like that.
The complementary football is back in New York, and you can take a mistake here, a mistake on defense, and capitalize because you're playing complementary football.
JC,
all right,
always a pleasure, man.
Same here, brother.
Good seeing you. We'll talk to you next week. That's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. From the Hackensack Marina Health Podcast, you'll keep getting better. For John, and John, I'm John. We'll talk to you next time, John. Right here on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Have a great weekend. You can enjoy non-Giants football, and then we'll be back next week with a whole lot more. I'm not a couple days next week, but then we will be back, and we got to go. Paul, Lance, all the guys will be stepping in for me, and we'll have a good time, and we'll see you then. Adios.